Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I want you guys to everyone put your hands in the air, and I want you to show me how many kids in your class are using AI. 1, absolutely no one. They don't even know what it is. 10, please save me. I can't stop them. It's all the time. 1 through 10, show me with your fingers how much are kids using AI. All right, we've got about some 7s and some 8s. Now I'm going to ask you a harder question. How confident are you that number is correct? 1, I really have no idea. 10, I know exactly how many my kids are doing. Okay, there's some real confidence here, and then we have some 10s, and we have some 1s and some 2s. That's why I gave this talk, and that's why I really wanted to come up and talk about this, is that my job is I'm a researcher. I talk to a lot of students. I work a lot at the Boys and Girls Club. And what I do is when I'm coming to all these talks is I'm like, the kid's voice is not being represented here. We don't understand what the students are thinking and doing. And so I'm about to present to you guys what the kids think and what are we going to do about it. All right. My first question is, why in the world did we think writing was a good idea? Why is writing an important piece of the educational process? Ends up, they started doing writing in Greece. And you know, they actually had to scribe on these little tablets, and they thought that was going to help them learn. Well, not everyone thought that was going to help them learn. Not a big fan of writing. For this invention will produce forgetfulness in the minds of those who learn to use it, because they will not practice their memory. You have invented an elixir, not of memory, but of reminding, and you offer your pupils the appearance of wisdom, not true wisdom. Who would have guessed that Socrates knew about ChatGPT? So as I said, I work with a lot of different companies. They hire me to help them invent what the future of their technology is. I really wanted to do an AI project. None of these companies were ready to hire me to do AI, so I did my own study. This is completely funded by me, and it's just something I really cared about, and I'm really glad you guys showed up because it looks like other people care about it too. What did I do? I interviewed 10 really, really good high school teachers about reading and writing. And then I sent out a survey to 203 students asking them to fill it out. Some of them used ChatGPT to fill it out, which was a good thing, I guess. And then I selected 20 of those students who said that they had a strong opinion and cared about using AI. And then together with these students and teachers, I co-created an app, and I'm going to show you that app at the end. It's a work in progress. It's just more of an idea of what could things look like differently? That was the point of the app. All right, spoiler. Students are no longer learning the skills that writing uses to teach. And we need to redesign the writing assignment. That's the leading thesis. How am I going to show you that? 2 pieces. How writing to learn has died. There's 2 pieces. Your AI detectors are not working. And number 2, the learning fallout. What are we going to do about that and what happened? Number 2, let's talk about how we're going to redesign the writing assignment. I don't want to just be negative. There's actually so much cool stuff we can do now. And so that's what I'm going to talk about second. Okay, let's talk about AI detectors aren't working. So as I said, I interviewed all these students, and they just told me everything about exactly what they're doing and what they care about. And I'm just going to be presenting their story to you. Step 1 about how they're going to start using AI is you're going to give them an assignment. And this is the type of response they're going to have. My teacher is looking for 300 words. I can't even think of that. So AI helps me think of many things to put in. It always makes suggestions, so I can just submit that to my teacher. Students are using AI to write. Introduce yourself to the class. Write a letter to your mom. Why I am excited to go to college. All of these, AI produced completely. Step number 2, in case people haven't tried this themselves, you put the prompt into ChatGPT, and miraculously, you have an answer to that question. And now some of you might be thinking about what happens next. That's right. If they submit it to the teachers might have an AI detector. So, oh boy, we caught him. We got him with the AI detectors. And I was looking forward to talking to students about this. Out of the 20 students that I talked to, take a guess, talk to your neighbor. How many students do you think are worried about getting caught with AI detectors? 0. Not a single one even talked to me about a worry. They're not worried about it at all. They've already hacked this system, and I didn't even know it was hackable yet. So what they're doing this amazing new skill they're learning, and they all taught me about this, called paraphrasing. Circuit optimization is a crucial aspect of electrical engineering to circuit optimization is a critical for electrical engineering. Now this seems like, we had to do this when we were doing research in encyclopedias and things like this. They just do this to every sentence. You will never be able to detect this. I have an engineering degree. I guarantee you cannot detect this with an AI detector because it is literally human writing. It's just not human thinking, which we'll get into later. I want you to really think about this paraphrasing because we are about to enter into a new era where paraphrasing is viewed as part of writing. I'm going to play you, I really care about anonymity, so I'll never say any of the kids' names or anything they said, but this one student had no guilt whatsoever about it, and she thought you guys should know how she paraphrases.
Okay, so one of the ways I use AI, when I search for something, I have a notepad in my computer. So when I search for something, I don't just copy and paste because then I need to add some human form, some kind of human, some relatable forms. So I just copy it to my notepad and I paste it there, and then I go through it and I take out some things and I input some things and I just make it look more realistic, and then I copy the realistic note I have made, and then I paste it on my assignment. Yeah.
You probably noticed there's no sense of guilt in her voice. She's like proud of this. Like, look at what I'm doing. I found this amazing new way to be brilliant. And this is how all the students are talking about that. If you want students to master paraphrasing, I strongly suggest invest in an AI detector. That's all it's doing. It's just forcing the kids to do paraphrasing. And this is the end result. I'm better off now. Evolution is a human characteristic. In the end, I'm now a better student, a better overall person, because this is the future. This is how things are done now. Well, I hope you enjoyed my talk. No. I have way too many teachers in there. So let's talk about the fallout. Okay, so I'm asking these kids, is there any disadvantage? And they're like, oh, I don't see anything wrong. This is great. There is horrible fallout, and I think we need to really own this. And as a nation or the world at this point in time, what is the fallout? I interviewed one student, as I said, they wouldn't really talk to me about what's problematic about this, but this one student kind of said it, and then I leaned into it. Using AI made me feel good. I didn't have to stress myself out. I just used AI without stress, without racking my brain. Without racking my brain. It's that racking the brain part that's the learning part. So we're going to go through like this case study here. This is a freshman, 19-year-old studying electrical engineering, and her parents are engineers. She's proud to be an engineer. She's super excited to be an engineer. She had to write a paper on optimizing circuits. Little did she realize I had an electrical engineering degree. And I was like, oh, tell me more about optimizing circuits. I'm really excited for this conversation. I'm about to show you what she said about it. If you don't know anything about optimizing circuits, you just need to know this one line, which if you look in ChatGPT, it's the first line. Circuit optimization is a crucial aspect of electrical engineering involving the refinement of circuit design to improve efficiency, performance, and cost effectiveness. All right, so I asked her to explain to me what circuit optimization is. I'm going to need to think. I'm going to use my paper here. I think it has to do with circuit design optimization. You know, there are basic requirements needed. My teacher said something about performance characteristics such as frequent response, signal to noise ratio. Most of the students I interviewed couldn't say a complete sentence about the topics that they're writing about. Hey, it's our friend Socrates. I told you this was a bad idea. And Socrates is correct, but what's going on? Why is this a bad idea? Well, this racking your brain skills, when they don't rack their brain, these are the skills they're missing out on. They're missing out on critical thinking, developing their voice, self-reflection and metacognition, internalization, creativity, and I'm sure there's a lot more, and I'm sure you guys care about other ones as well. Okay, so this isn't a doom and gloom. I gave one of those talks. I'm not going to do that again. I actually have some really exciting ideas of what we need to do to cover those skills. Those are the things we need kids to work on. How do we get them to critically think? There's a lot of talks right now on how to catch students plagiarizing, but I want to show an alternative. What if we design new ways for students to learn these critical writing skills? In all of my design ethos and the projects I worked on, I believe students want to learn. Every student I interview actually is very proud to be a learner. We just need to design learning experiences where they can both practice and feel learning. So as I said, I've developed an app. I'll put the link at the end. It's called Level Up. I literally published it 2 days ago. And I worked with the students and teachers to look at what could we look at differently. This is a work in progress. I don't want you to think Level Up is going to solve all this. This is just an artifact for discussion about, wait a second, we could do writing differently. I'm going to present a lot of pedagogical theories that have way too many words and letters in them. You don't have to know them, but I just want you to know the way we solve this is actually just looking at pedagogical theory. These aren't new ideas that I'm presenting. I'm just applying them in a new space. All right, first one of my favorites, self-determination theory. Students own their learning and are invested in their assignments through agency and choice. Okay, I usually was going to set this up beforehand, but you guys saw we had some technical difficulties. So let's see if I can get, oh, here it comes, maybe. A different kind of style of how students can use it. This is that same circuit paper. I use ChatGPT to generate a different one just so we don't have to do any weird plagiarism stuff. And this is Google Docs. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to, and what this is a way for giving students feedback in a different way that might not just be about copy and paste. Okay. Oh, look at, we're already at level 2. Now the student has some different rubric options that they can work on. These are all designed by the teacher. Any shout outs? What do you guys want to work on? I'm going to go with evidence. So next, after that, as I said, I wanted to work on self-efficacy first. The first thing that you see here is the kids are actually given 3 options about why are you working on this. I actually have to come up here because I can barely see it. Okay, our option 1 is grab the reader's attention, curiosity. Make my argument feel focused and impactful. Make it sound like I know what I'm talking about. Instead of just saying, you got something wrong, Grammarly is telling you this is wrong, we're actually asking the students, what do you want to do to improve it? Okay. I'm going to just select the first one because I have no idea what it said. Then what we do, which I once again will not be reading, is we give them emotional feedback. So one of the best ways you can give feedback on writing is like, when I read this, I got confused. Or like, I really wanted to know more. I felt your excitement, but I didn't get it. So we actually give them an emotional response to a part in their paper. And that part of the paper is this one highlighted. Okay, going back to the presentation. Okay, that's self-determination theory. And then the next one, oh, I have a clicker. The next one, maybe I don't have a clicker anymore. Oh boy. Do I have a mouse? Yeah, there we go. Okay. The next one is metacognitive self-regulation, which is a fancy word to like, students need to reflect. They need to think about what they're saying and writing. It's not a one and done. I like how I just said there, in other words. So how do you get students to reflect on this? Well, there's 2 ways. So one thing, I'm not going to go there because this mouse is really hard to move. We have a way to reflect. What's going well? What's hard? How much AI are you using? And how is that helping you? So we're actually asking kids to reflect on the writing assignment, but we're also showing them immediate feedback about their writing. I won't read this right now, which is going to be very hard when I try to improve this sentence. But the feedback is a very specific scaffolded way of being like, this sentence, I'm guessing this one is like, you told us about batteries, but we really want to know how is that energy being saved? So it gives a very specific example, but it doesn't give the answer at all. And it gets them to reflect on their writing that way. Okay, so that's metacognitive self-regulation. And now we have labor-based contract grading, which once again, oh God, the mouse, here it comes. This is my favorite one when I talk to teachers. I think this is a really good idea. The problem here is the kids are getting incredibly positive feedback from you. I was a pretty bad writer, and then I turned in a really good paper with ChatGPT, and I got an A+, and my teacher complimented me for how good I am. I literally heard that story multiple times. They got an A+ on a paper, but they didn't get an A+ on thinking. And why didn't they get an A+ on thinking? Because no one's measuring the thinking process. You don't, people are doing that, but it's a lot harder to measure the thinking process. So how do we actually reward kids for this work? So going back to this assignment, oh my God, I think I'm not going to be able to do this. I feel like just like the students, right? Okay, here I am blindly typing, because I literally have no idea, because energy is in short supply. Okay, we'll see if this works. And if not, and it tells me I need to improve, well, we'll just have to pretend I got it right. Yes, I got it right. I actually was able to figure, I've practiced this talk enough times, I kind of knew what it was going to tell me. So what you can see here is, you can see my excitement. I knew I got it right. We have a little level up. It actually went to level 3 here on the top of their paper. We get a little balloon. It's so small. You're like, why would a high school or a college kid care about it? Because you need a marker of success. You need a marker that I put in hard work, and I'm measuring it, and I'm seeing it, and I'm valuing it. We don't have that right now. We just have that final paper. In addition to that, when they're done, this little cell fills up so they get that. You also have like a writing journal here, where if you click on it, you can actually see every one of the questions, their responses, how many times they tried. You're just getting all these records of thinking and critical thinking and practicing, so it's no longer just the final paper. Okay, in addition to that, and my version has it, but Google needs me to do a little bit more security before I can show it to you. Security checks, I have it, but I have to get the check done. We also have a way of showing, oh yeah, I forgot the mouse isn't working anymore. We also have a way of showing actually how much time the students spent. So you show how much time. I've actually developed some other tools in there as well that some of the teachers got excited by, like how much did you copy and paste? One of the ones that I developed was, does this look like you typed it, or did you actually like just copied and typed it, or did you spend time thinking? Because you can actually see that. We can actually see how much time they're spending thinking while they're typing as well. These are all things that you can have conversations and reward students around instead of just did they do it or not. But I want to talk to like some of these bigger concepts as well. Knowledge becomes deeply embedded, allowing students to recall and apply it to new concepts. When we gave that story of that person in the beginning, she didn't have it internalized. She doesn't know why optimization is important. And that's the point of writing, well, one of the main points of writing in school is to really understand and develop it so you can communicate it out. So Socrates is coming back. He's like, guys, I got an idea here. You can use the Socratic method. So I'm trying to get these students to actually care about that they might not be learning the materials and they're not identifying it. So I actually started improving and building out different prototypes on the fly and showing them and like asking, do you see what you're not getting? And this one worked really well. This is the one where the student's like, oh, I get it. So what we did is we had ChatGPT do the Socratic method on their paper. And so I'm just going to play this. It's not the actual student's voice, so you're not going to hear the hesitancy and the doubt and the working through. It's my wife. She's wonderful, but not the, I'm not going to,
All right, first question. Why do you think optimization is important in circuit design?
I'm going to just say it's necessary for increased speed.
That totally makes sense. Why do you think speed matters? And when do you think speed would be a top priority?
I would say integrity is very important because faster signals are susceptible to ensuring the signal remains strong and clear.
That's a great point, but let's say speed is your main focus. What kind of challenges or trade-offs might come up if you push a circuit to operate at really high speeds?
So I've tested this with about 4 or 5 students because we just started figuring out this problem by the end of the interview, and it was working. Like this discussion was making them think so much more than just writing a paper. It's a similar kind of concept, but
All right,
when
first
I feel
question.
like I'm actually having a discussion with an individual, it's different. It feels a lot better. Or, oh, okay, we got that one too. Okay, scaffolding. Support students as they take on challenging tasks. What happened during the Socrates method is the students would identify they don't know things. And that's a really magical moment. That's a moment you actually want the students to get into because if they identify they don't know things, that's when you're like, hey, you could learn more. And so I put a little button here where they can ask to learn and actually explore. It's not a test. It's not like, aha, you don't know it, you're failing. It's like, okay, how do we become an expert on this? Which led kind of to the last idea that we kind of build around, the teachers are giving a real positive feedback to, is expressive pedagogy. Encourage students to discover and express their voice. So while I was building this presentation, I was using Notebook LM that does radio broadcasts. But like a lot of things in ChatGPT, these artifacts are so here, just consume this. You're not creating with me, just consume it. But what if instead of just listening to a podcast, you're the main star? So I hacked Notebook LM to do this.
Welcome back to Today in History, everyone. So, what are we diving into today?
Looks like we are tackling the Napoleonic Wars.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. Should be fun.
That's going to be a lot of
Yeah. A lot of bloodshed for sure.
a bloodbath.
Yeah. And you know, we have a special guest today. Carlos is with us. He just finished reading about the Napoleonic Wars.
Welcome to the show, Carlos.
Yeah, Carlos, I've got to ask you, just to kick things off, would you have wanted to live during the Napoleonic Wars?
This was all AI generated. We're now in a space where kids can actually participate in discussion and thought. It just doesn't look like a 5-paragraph essay. Okay, novelty and innovation. I'm just going to end on this. This is why I care about this. We're like, we have to figure this out. Humans are very good at novelty and innovation. When we use ChatGPT, if we use it correctly, we can actually be more innovative. So, for example, this entire presentation, I probably used ChatGPT, I would argue, over 2,000 times to present this to you. I hope you don't mind. No, I honestly think it really helped me improve in all sorts of ways. I would sit in the car and talk to ChatGPT about my presentation, and we'd work on it together. But I asked ChatGPT, students are using AI to write their essays. What should we do about it? This was ChatGPT's answer. You should use AI detection tools. You should set clear guidelines and expectations. Teach AI literacy and responsible use. I'm not saying those ideas are wrong, but you can see what happens is we can't come up with new ideas. ChatGPT couldn't interview students or be like, what's a better way to do this? What's a new thing that hasn't been written? And of course, once my presentation gets put online, this can get into ChatGPT and this can be part of the ethos. But if we're going to come up with new ideas, we have to do it with our own critical thinking, not through ChatGPT. So what's the next step? As I said, I'm just developing this app very early on. I want to build and test in classrooms. If anyone's interested in like hosting or brainstorming, I really want this to be teacher-led. Like, what should we make? What should this look like? Let's start building some of these ideas out more. Let's start looking at what is the future assignment that it's about critical thinking, and how can we make different things? And I'll conclude with, oh, look at all those cool resources. But if you take a picture of that, that will let you download, level up. Give it a 5-star rating and make it look like it's a legit app. I would appreciate that. But you can also just email me here. I have a mailing list. If you email me, I'll throw you on the mailing list where I'm just brainstorming with teachers what this should look like. All these ideas are teachers' ideas. I'm just listening to them and building it out together. And then come talk to me. As I said before, this is kind of my side project, and I really love it, but I'd love to find more homes for it. So if you really care about this, or if you want to do this together, please come up, talk to me, email me, try out the app, let me know what you think. It's a work in progress. So thank you all. Really appreciate it. Woo!